Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Rainbow Six idea video. I like doing these kinds of videos, sharing my thoughts about potential changes we could see in Rainbow Six. Now this one's going to be a bit different. Instead of me having created a list of all of the changes I would like to see, and then presenting to you why I want to see those changes, instead I'm going to be creating the list off the top of my head. I'm going to go in here and completely change the way I think about this game, and we're going to go operator by operator. I always start yawning when I start recording. I'm gonna go operator by operator, and we're gonna see what kind of changes we can make to make the game more balanced. Now, first thing to keep in mind, let's take a look at these pick rates and win rates. So, these are a little outdated. Let's take a look. Let's see, how can we address some of these changes? So, looks like IQ, Thermite, and Maverick aren't particularly, in a bad spot right now. Yana is doing surprisingly good. I still want to see some changes from her, but she is doing surprisingly good. Nomad, Jackal, Habana, Thatcher, Twitch, Sledge, Ace, Zofia, and Ash are quite up there. And then there's just a cluster of these guys all the way back down here. So, I guess let's address Ace and Zofia and Ash first and foremost. So with Ash, I have some very interesting ideas, right? Alright, how about this, right? Ash, we're gonna nerf her. We're gonna nerf her, but it won't be crazy, right? Let's just remove the option for an optic. Alright? So she only has iron sights. Sorry. For the R4C in particular. Available. And remove the vertical grip. So she isn't able to get that horizontal accuracy that would really help out. So, yeah, that would be a huge change to Ash. And I think that would definitely lower her pick rate and force a lot of people to use either to use the G36C, or just not use it at all. And should we remove the 1.5 from the G36C? I don't think that would be necessarily a bad thing. Well, these changes I like. Optional. Remove 1.5 from G36C. Replace EOTech with MH1. And then let's remove reflex RMR. Okay, that I think are going to be some major changes. So next up, what do we have? Zofia. I think Zofia could get a relatively similar treatment as I'm thinking with Ash. So, Zofia, she loses the angled grip for the M762. Remove angled grip. Option. And remove the 2 times, maybe? Remove 2 times. Because she's pretty strong even with Hollow. So yeah. That might force a lot of people to use the LMG, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So yeah. We'll see. I think that's not necessarily a bad change. I think that would be. I don't know. I like Zofia though. Well, here's how about this? Well, remove 2 times option, add 1.5 times option. How about that? That way she has at least some range. Okay, and then Ace. Obviously, for the AK-12, we're gonna remove that. We're gonna remove that 2 times. And I think that's really the big thing that we want to do is remove that 2 times. Everything else is fine. Okay. Sledge, I'm surprised Twitch is getting his picked. Well, this is obviously... Twitch's pick rate is obviously going to go down relatively soon. I think Twitch is in a decent spot now. I might be tempted to take away the 1.5 from Twitch, because she doesn't really need it. But we'll keep it there for now. We'll keep it the way it is for now. I think in terms of the pick rate, obviously Blackbeard, he got nerfed. I think his win rate is going to go way down. I don't think we need to nerf him again. So Jaeger, Melusi, and then Valkyrie, Legion, Smoke. I'm surprised Smoke is getting picked so much. So let's address Jaeger's pick rate. Obviously, I think we should go with a very similar direction that we went with. With Ash, we're going to remove all optics options. And we're going to remove muzzle brake. Remove muzzle brake, compensator, and flash hider options. I said compensator, and flash hider as options. Melusi, they have some interesting ideas for Melusi. There's been a lot of interesting ideas for Melusi. So what I'm thinking is, as kind of a band-aid, I don't know how they're going to handle it with it opens up when you shoot it, but here's what I'm thinking, right? And I mentioned this in the other video. Melusi, her Banshees will only slow you down. They'll only slow down attackers for 6 seconds before it needs a cooldown. After a certain amount of time, let's say 30 seconds, or 20 seconds. The Banshee will need to be reactivated by shooting a sensor. In a very similar fashion to Aruni's Surya Gates. I think that would be a really nice change. It still gives her the opportunity to hear people coming, and like I said, it still gives people the opportunity to hear somebody coming, and it also slows them down, but it's not as oppressive. And I think that's going to be important. Because the fact that it only slows you down for like 6 seconds means you're going to have to work on that like quickly. Also, I imagine Malusi's pick rate is going to go down after Flores comes in and starts blowing up all of her stuff all the time, so we'll see. Who else is getting banned a lot? Valkyrie? Yeah, that's fine. Or picked a lot. Valkyrie. I already mentioned the changes to Valkyrie. You simply ban, or sorry, after a certain amount of time, I mentioned this like multiple times before, but I'll write it down again, just in case if you haven't seen those videos. After a certain amount of time, let's say, I don't know, 66 to 80 seconds, cameras that are located outside will be disabled and can no longer be used. After Valkyrie has died, or let's say only Valkyrie can move her cameras. And after she dies, the position is locked. Maybe that will help reduce the frustration. I don't know. Well, this one's optional, I'll say. This one's optional. I don't know. I think that would just be... What I feel like would be the case is that would only be annoying to Valkyrie players, but the people on the receiving end wouldn't feel a difference. So it would only lead to more frustration, potentially. But, I don't know. It's kind of hard to judge. Maybe it would lead to less people getting spotted. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, right? And that's just a potential idea. So we can also address Clash. Clash's pick rate isn't particularly high, but her ban rate is through the roof. Look at this. She's pretty underpowered. So what would we be able to do besides a rework, right? Let's say that... Besides a rework... Let's say that Clash, because I've been talking about a Clash rework for a bit, and I've been saying that you place down her shield, instead of it being a primary weapon, you place down her shield as a primary gadget, and then it auto-stuns people in front of her, right? I've said that before, but let's think, like, Band-Aid kind of fix, right, without completely reworking her. How can we make her less frustrating? I think you simply just give her a weaker weapon, right? So let's remove the SP-SMG-9 as an option. And let's replace that with... What's a pistol you don't see very often? Because it's not that good. And what would make sense for Clash to have? It's kind of hard to think of one, actually. What kind of pistol would we like to see? I cannot think. Maybe the, no, not the GSH, not the P12. Browning, no. D50, no. P229, no. USP 40? That's pretty underused. Yeah, maybe the USP 40. I don't see a problem with that. Yeah, and then she has the P10C. So yeah. I think that's a good idea. So you could still make work. You could still do work, but it's just a lot harder to do it. A lot harder. Because the SPS MG9 is kind of like a crutch, but it's really powerful. So, yeah, okay. I think that's a good idea. Because that's the thing, right? Like, the annoying thing about Clash is that she can easily turn around and just kill a whole bunch of different people, because her secondary SMG is actually pretty good. But if that was a lot harder to do than by having a pistol, then, yeah, it would probably reduce frustration in those ways. So, Kaid, I don't think Kaid needs any bans. Echo, I don't think he needs any changes. I think those are perfectly fine operators. Maestro and Wamai, I think that's fine. We might see some changes to Maestro soon. We'll see. What I will say, I guess with Maestro, here's what I think would be a good idea with Maestro, right? Maestro, let's say you can punch, if you punch his, if you punch his Evil Eye twice, it will be disabled, but the doors will not open. Open. Let's say it will be disabled. And you have to shoot a sensor to reactivate it. Reactivate it, much like the surrogates. Much like the surrogates, except there is no cooldown. You can punch it and, disable it, but you can immediately shoot it and bring it back online, instead of having to wait like 10 or 30 seconds or whatever. Alright. So I think that would be good. Well, I don't think he needs any changes. I think he's pretty balanced. So Thatcher... Here's the interesting thing with Thatcher. Thatcher doesn't really need any changes. He's pretty balanced the way he is. In fact, I would give him a slight buff, but while nerfing Naeger. I would say that his ADS is... It makes them less viable and less annoying to deal with, which I think is good. So frag grenades will still get through. The new secondary gadget I was talking about, because, you know, yeah, we'll see. So that's technically a nerf to Thatcher. What's another? Oh no, that's a buff to Thatcher. So if we were gonna like bring him down a little bit, how would we do that? I don't know. I think Thatcher's good. I think Thatcher's in a good spot right now. I don't see him as overly annoying. Blackbeard, he just got a nerf. I don't think he needs to get nerfed again. Jackal, I got a really good idea for Jackal, right? Hear me out. Jackal, 2 big nerfs. Only. No, actually, no. Let's keep it realistic. So, the scan doesn't happen immediately. Or how about this, right? Whenever Jackal scans someone, the person who is scanned will be shown as a HUD element which foot it was that Jackal scanned. Also, the scan won't happen, the first scan won't happen immediately. But instead, it will give the defender a warning for about 3 or so seconds, letting them know that they're about to get scanned. So that way they have the opportunity to run away. So the effect of this is twofold, right? There's a lot more risk in scanning footprints, right? Because here's the problem with scanning footprints. You just scan the footprints, and the entirety of the attacking team gets information, while the defending team very likely doesn't get any information. So what the effect of this is twofold. Because it shows the person who got scanned which footprint it was that scanned them, they know exactly where Jackal is, basically. They're like, okay, Jackal's around that area somewhere. And not only that, but they don't get scanned immediately. So, theoretically, there's a lot more risk with this, right? Because theoretically, Jackal could scan somebody's footprints, and the defender, who's supposed to be the one who's in the worst position, right? They'll instead be in the better position, because they'll know where Jackal is, and the Jackal won't know where they is for at least 5 seconds, right? So, depending on the positioning of Jackal and the defender could be in a better position. The defender could benefit from the Jackal scan more than Jackal himself. So there's a lot more risk in scanning, because once again, when it comes to some kind of ability where you can scan the entire, if you can scan somebody for the entire for your entire team to know where they are, there has to be either some risk or some kind of counterplay. Currently, the only counterplay to dealing with Jackal scans is if you are Caveira. Otherwise, there is no counterplay. You get scanned, that is it, end of story. What there should be is which is what I mentioned, what there should be is the ability for the defenders to gain some kind of information from it, and to be able to counter it. Because you know that there's some kind of delay, right? Because you see, well, you're about to get scanned, that gives you enough time to reposition. The other team still gains information. They still know exactly where you are, but they don't know without you knowing that they know that you're going to be there. Because when you get scanned, you get no warning. Boom, everybody on the other team knows where you are. Better hope you're not in a bad position. So yeah, I think that would be a very, very good buff. Or nerf, sorry. Monty, I don't think Monty needs any more bans or nerfs. I think Monty's fine. Ace, we already talked about Ace. Maverick could potentially use some changes. We'll see. I don't know. I think Maverick. Maverick. Yeah. I think that, considering what Maverick is, I think that he's in a decent spot. So let's address some of the other operators then. Legion, I think he could use a very, very slight buff. His, what is it called? His goo mines go back to doing an initial tick damage of 2. But the first 6 damage tick takes a second longer to happen. So the big issue with the goo mines was that they did 10 damage, which is extremely overpowered. But now they're going to only do 2 damage, which is not that bad. I mean, what they're mostly used for is information, right? They know that you're getting hit by the goo mine. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think it should do a little bit of damage, but this is optional. I think Legion is relatively okay right now. As much as I hate Legion, other than completely reworking him, I couldn't think of anything that would make him less annoying to play against. Bandit Smoke, I think they're fine. Except for maybe Bandit's gas is a little bit more... Or Smoke's gas, sorry. Smoke... His gas canister is a little bit harder to see through. I know that I got some other interesting ideas for other operators. So what do you got? Sledge, Thatcher, Twitch. So Twitch, I think Twitch should do... Twitch, her drone should do 4 damage instead of 1. Also, it can jump. And she has regular drones as well. If that's the case, we should probably nerf Twitch by her gun. So let's just say, yeah, let's do it. Let's just say F2, remove 1.5 as option. How about that? How about them knuckles? Because people are only choosing Twitch to get that F2, but because now the F2 will only have a one times, it gives people a better fighting chance because she doesn't have as much range capabilities. Yeah, I think that's good. The ability for the drone to jump would be nice. Habana, 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 Habana. Let's give another buff to Habana. Let's say that her X-Kairos can stick to deployable slash her X-Kairos can stick to deployable slash Goyo shields and destroy them. That's a pretty big buff. Because Habana normally not being able to do that. When she comes across a shield, she's like, uh-oh, what do I do? Nomad just got a nerf with Mute being able to counter it. Blackbeard got a nerf. IQ, I think, is fine. American Thermite. Yana. I think Yana still should have a infinite Gemini replicator duration. I think it should be infinite. I don't see any reason why there should be a limit. It is a drone after all. Yeah, I think that's fine. Oh, let's also say this. It can be spotted. Can be spotted by drones, by surveillance items, by observation tools. So they might think it's a... I think that would be a nice, handy buff. Amaru, I think Amaru, what we need to do with Amaru is give her back the ITA-12S as an option. So she'll have 3 secondary options. I think out of all the people who needs 3 secondary options, Amaru is probably one of the biggest ones. And she'll get adrenaline. When grappling through a hatch. When grappling. I'll just say when grappling, which gives her a temporary 5 HP boost and 5 health, and 5% speed boost for 5 seconds. Stacks with Finka. There we go. Alright, let's go back. Tomorrow. Here's their fingers. I guess we could do some... Ooh, let's talk about Nook. Let's talk about Nook, right? Nook, how about this, right? When her ability is active, and this is something that somebody recommended to me on YouTube, right? I didn't come up with this idea, but somebody else recommended it to me. I wish I could remember who it was, but I may or may not put a screenshot here, I don't know. When her ability is active, whenever she steps past a Gurgmont mine or Capkin trap, there will instead be a delay to her activation rather than it happening immediately. Giving her time to get out of the way. But still warning defenders of her location. Alright, I think that's where I'm going to end it for this part because I got to really use the bathroom, but I got a bunch of other ideas, I promise. So, yeah, I'll be right back.